Hi guys, how are you? So I'm trying something new and we're going to see how well this works. So hopefully it works well. Um, so hopefully by now you have read over your eating plan, all right? This lovely little puppy here. I'm going to kind of go through a couple of different things to really just kind of just see what happens. I'm so sensitive. Like I could do this. I'm like, ugh, looks like I have hives. I just like scratched my neck and that's what happened. So, um, but I want to go through and show you guys a couple of things that I think are really important to note in the eating plan. And I think it will also probably help address or answer some questions that you might be having or some stresses that you guys might be having. So do not watch the rest of this video, please, 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 until you have read over your eating plan. And after you've read over that, watch this video and it'll kind of all make sense. So what I want to start with is I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to certain things, okay? So we're going to share my screen and you should be seeing my screen now. So let me bring over my meal plan so you can see, or the eating plan for Plan B. Okay, so like I said earlier, with Plan B, this is where I am starting, okay? Obviously, here's the cover page. Here are the table of contents. And then we have our portion control containers. All of these, none of this is new by any means. You'll notice that this is where you're going to see your chart tells you how much of each container you can have each day, okay? So I get 4 greens, which are veggies, 3 purples, which are fruits, 4 reds, which are protein, 3 yellows, which are your carbs, your blue, and in case you're wondering what these are, they're also up here, which are your healthy fats, so like your cheese and things like that. Your orange container, which are your seeds and your dressing, and then your teaspoons, which are your oils and nut butters. Notice that it is teaspoon, not tablespoon. A lot of times with the big T, people will be like, oh, tablespoon. No, this is a teaspoon, not a tablespoon of oil and nut butters, okay? So remember we talked about earlier that you really need to make sure that you calculate what plan you're on in the starter guide before you can then determine which eating plan you're on. Again, this is for Plan B. Now, when it comes to time nutrition and the meal plan, okay, this is where a lot of people, I think, sometimes are getting confused or stressed out. Me too, so I completely understand where you're coming from, and I just want to walk you through this, okay? Your workout block is this section here, okay? And then you have meal options, all right? Now, let me explain to you how these meal options work. These meal options can really go, you can move these in any way, shape, or form. So if I want to have meal option 2 here, and then meal option 1 here, and meal option 3 here, I can. All right, and I'm going to show you an example of a meal plan to look at this, but you can swap these out however you want. It doesn't matter. But here's the key on this, and I kind of mentioned this the other day when we were talking about A Little Obsessed. The meal option has to go together. These containers all have to go together. So for meal option 3, you have to have a green, a red, a yellow, an orange, and a teaspoon. You can't move them around. The entire meal stays together. This is the reason, as part of that time nutrition that comes into play, and we talk about fueling our body and what it needs and when it needs and things like that. These all go together to help you. Now, you have your workout block, okay? Your workout block, these stay the same. The only thing in here, there's one exception to this, okay? One exception to the pre-workout block is if you're going through with and you're like, I am working out at 4:45 in the morning and I cannot eat all of this that early in the morning. You can do meal option 1. You would flip out this meal for this meal, okay? So instead of your pre-workout meal being a green, a red, a yellow, and a teaspoon, you would have a purple, a red, and a teaspoon, okay? Then your green, red, yellow, and teaspoon, you would then have that later on as your meal option, okay? So this one here can go here and vice versa. This is primarily just for those of you that are early morning workout folks. If you are working out in the afternoon or the evening, this should not change, okay? This should not change at all. The only people that should really be flipping this with this is going to be those people that are early morning workout folks, okay? So I get up, and as soon as I'm up in the morning, I work out, and my workouts are happening like at 5 something in the morning, 6 something in the morning. That's going to be for these folks here, okay? Other than that, this all stays together as a bundle, all right? So I'm always gonna have my pre-workout meal. If I'm an early morning workout person, it's gonna be purple, red teaspoon. If I'm a regular workout person, midday, evening, it's gonna be green, red, yellow teaspoon, okay? Then I've got my Energize, I do my workout, I do, I don't think any of us are doing hydrate, so that's just basically, are you drinking water, okay? None of us are using the hydrate component. After the workout is over, you're going to do a purple, which is your fruit, and then your recover, and then your post-workout meal. This post-workout meal is the same for every single person. It doesn't matter if you're working out at 6 a.m., if you're working out at 9 p.m. After you get done working out, you have to have a green, a red, a yellow, and a teaspoon. Even if you're going to bed, I work out at 9 o'clock or 9:30. My workout was an hour. I get it at 10:30. I'm going to bed at 11. Between 10:30 and 11, you better be eating these things here, okay? That is the way that it is organized. That is the way that it is. As Autumn has talked to us about this, there is a science behind all of this for these results. This is how Autumn honestly eats every single day. This is how she eats. This is the plan that she follows. There is a science behind this time nutrition that has been researched and has been proven to be true. This is what this is, okay? Now, with that being said, with this component, all right, there's something else that I want to add to that. In the event you're like, man, Trisha, I just don't know how I can find the time to do this. There's no way I can do this. Okay, here's the deal. By all means, if that is the case, you can go through and still do 80-day obsession. You can still do it. You can go through and do this here. But if you're like, oh, I need to, I'm not going to eat after I work out at night, or I'm not going to eat before I get up in the morning or whatever, that's fine. That's up to you. That's perfectly fine. But understand, though, that your results will not be as big, or will not be as pronounced, or will not be as much as what they could have been had you followed this here. You very well are still going to get results. It's just not going to be at the peak performance or the peak results that you could have had if you followed this time nutrition piece, okay? So just understand that. The other thing I want to talk to you about is then it goes through and gives you an example of what a time nutrition looks like, okay? So for Plan B, it gives you an example. Here's what they are eating before they work out, after the workout, the post-workout meal, what their meal options are, all right? And how that goes throughout the day. Again, option 1, 2, and 3 do not have to go in order. They don't have to go in order, okay? You can move them around. It can go meal option 2, 3, 1. It could go meal option 3, 1, 2. 3, 2, 1. It doesn't matter. You can flip these around as long as these containers here all stay together for these meal options. You can move this order around whichever way you would like, okay? So that's that. On Sundays, you're going to follow this piece here, all right? All of this you're going to follow Monday through Saturday, okay? On Sundays are our rest days. No workouts on Sundays, okay? On your rest day, this is, again, you can go through and you're going to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Your container counts do not change. But again, you can put these meals in whatever order you would like. Any order, it doesn't matter. Again, as long as meal option 2 contains a green, a purple, a blue, it doesn't matter if you have this at 10 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock at night. Just meal option 2 has to stay together. All right, so next thing is, all right, we're not going to talk about refeed yet. That is not for another 6 weeks. So we can skip that. That is not for 6 weeks. Don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. We're not worried about that. Same thing with peak week. That is not until the last week of 80-day obsession. We're not going to worry about that right now. We'll do some tutorials about that when it gets closer. The menu planner. If you want to use this menu planner for your regular day, that's perfectly fine. You can print this out, put it on there. Not a big deal. But it has that option for you. It also goes through and gives you some options as far as what it could look like for workout blocks. So it gives you an option for what a morning workout block would look like. So if you're working from 7:30 to 8:30, it says wake up at 5:30, have my pre-workout meal at 6. I do my supplement at 7. I work out from 7:30 to 8:30, and so on. You can kind of see how that works. It has a midday workout, and then it has an evening workout, okay? If you are not using performance, so meaning you're not using Beachbody Energize or Recover. I know half of us are using Energize and Recover, half of us are not. If you are not using Energize and Recover, I want you to pay attention to this portion right here and how that fits with your Time nutrition plan, okay? Note that you will skip the post-workout supplement, and the purple container of fruits moves to the post-workout meal as shown below. So if you're not doing Energize or Recover, your pre-workout meal is going to look like this. Your post-workout meal is going to look like this. All you're doing, if I scroll back up here to the primary example that I showed you, all you're doing essentially is you are just, man, this is all the way up here. You're just taking this part out and adding it to this meal down here. That's all you're doing. Just boom, boom, just moving it down, okay? So for those of you that are not using Energize or Recover, you're just going to move that purple down to that post-workout meal. That is what is contained here within the eating plan, okay? The other thing is I want you to download and print, okay? Download and print the eating plan guide. Some of the food is different as far as what we can have and what we cannot have, okay? Again, no sugars, all right? So no wine, none of that business, just like 21 Day Fix. But the containers and what fits in some of those containers is much more like 21 Day Extreme rather than 21 Day Fix. So before you go and you start meal planning and meal prepping, go through under the resources or the program materials tab, scroll all the way down and look at what is on the eating plan guide, so you know exactly what falls under what category for containers, and you know what's okay and not okay when you meal plan. The other thing the other day that I talked about was the Google folder that I was going to share with all of you, so you had access to what meal plans and things like that. So I want to kind of show you what that specifically looks like. So let me bring that up for you. All right, so I want to show you how this works so you have an idea whether or not you want to use mine or do your own, but that way you just have an idea. So I've done this in Excel, and it's going to, obviously, if you can do it in Google with Sheets if you want, or you can just download the Excel file, whatever you want to do. But here's how I have it set up. So first is I have my template, okay? So my pre-workout meal schedule. I, for the most part, usually am an early morning workout person, almost all the time. So based off of that, you will see that I have two options here: pre-workout meal schedule and meal option 1 for pre-workout schedule. You will see the difference in between the two, okay? I then go through and have options down here: meal option 1 during the day, 2 during the day, 3 during the day, or the pre-workout meal as a meal. Again, I would only do this if I'm swapping out for meal 1, all right? So what I have done, you can see in week 1, I know this looks very overwhelming, but this is what helped me stay organized and sane. Creating it, not so much. But now that I have a system for it, I'm like, this, I get it, it makes sense to me, okay? So you'll see here, and when I started this, first off, I looked at my calendar. So as you start thinking of, okay, how am I gonna go about organizing and how am I going to figure out this meal plan? Don't wait until Saturday to meal plan. I want you guys to think about this meal planning process over the entire week and start working on it, because it's going to take a little time until you get used to it. So what I did is this. I looked at my calendar. I am out of town for part of the week that I am starting 80-Day Obsession. I am in Nebraska doing trainings, and I'm going off of school schedules. I'm also looking at the time that the workouts are, okay? They're not the same time. It's not always 30 minutes, or it ranges day to day, week to week. So as I did this, I had to look to see how long is the workout and what is my schedule for the day? When do I have calls coming in? When am I at schools all day? What the schedule is. So for instance, on Monday, okay, the workout is 60 minutes. And I have somewhere that I have to be at 7 o'clock that morning after I drop the kids off. I know that I'm not going to be able to get that done in time to get the kids to the bus and 100% get ready for the workday after I take them to school and be where I need to be by 7. So I am going to go through and change it up. So you'll notice I have my pre-workout meal. I wake up at 6, do my pre-workout meal at 6:30, do my Energize at 7:40. I work out from 8 to 9, do my post-workout recovery at 9:05 with my fruit, And then here's my post-workout meal. All right, so that's when I'm going to have my Shakeology along with a piece of toast. Meal option 1, meal option 2, and meal option 3. Okay, you see how I did that? That's what my schedule is for the most part on Monday and Tuesday. Then I'm going to go through and I have 3. Okay, what am I doing over here on Wednesday? So that day I'm in a building. All right, so I know that I'm going to wake up at 5:30. I'm going to start with meal option 1, 2, and 3. This is what fits me for lunch. All right. Then I'm going to have at 3:30 my pre-workout meal. My Energize is going to be at 3:40. And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when I'm going to work out. Then at 4:40, because again, the workout is 40 minutes. 4:40, I'll do my recover and then have my fruit. And then at 6:30, have my post-workout meal. So that's kind of what my schedule is for that. Then you notice Thursday, something a little bit different. All right. And then as I go down here, if I scroll down, I've got then my Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll notice with each of these days, I have what day it is. I have what the workout is, how many minutes it is, and I have it up there to help me plan so I know accordingly. And then over here is my rest day as far as what that is going to be. I still put times on this so I could still coordinate. We have games on Sunday, and so I wanted to make sure that I, again, had everything kind of figured out. Here's how you can utilize this. Week 2 right now is blank, all right? If I go to my template over here, I can go through and be like, I know that what that day is going to be, and I'm going to go with this as pre-option 1 for my workout schedule is what I'm going to start with, okay? Because I know that I'm going to start the day early with working out. So I'm going to copy this, go over here to week 2, and I'm going to paste it right there, okay? And I can actually, oh, hold on. Let me redo that. I forgot a step. Forgot my step. I have the days up here. So first off, I'm going to copy my day here. All right, here's Monday. I'll go to week 2. Oh, did I paste that whole thing? I'll redo that later. Now that I've jacked this all up, delete. Okay, let's try it again. I got ahead of myself. I'm going to copy this, go to week 2. There we go. Paste. Okay, this is my start. Now, I already know that this is not day 1. All right, that's not day 1. This would be day 6 or 7 because she does not count. She does not count, this is important to note, rest days as a day and 80 day. That doesn't count. So keep that in mind, okay? But for what we're doing, we're going to say that this is day 8. And it's obviously still Monday. Total body core, I know on that day from looking at my stuff, that is 60 minutes. Okay. And well, I typed over it. Total body core is 60 minutes on this week. It is not that way every week. 1 week it's 57 minutes. Another time it's 50 minutes. So, all right. Then I go back over here to my template. And looking at my calendar, I know that I'm going to do an early morning workout that day, okay? So I'm going to go through and copy this. I don't need this part here, okay? I just need this section here. I'm going to copy that. Come on over to week 2. Paste that. All right. Make that a little bit wider, a little bit smaller there. Okay. Then after that, I already have that chunk of time done, okay? So I would go through and here and I would say, okay, I'm going to work out on this day. If it's 60 minutes, I'm going to work out. I'm going to start. I know that my workout needs to be done by 6:40. So if that's the case, that means that my workout then needs to start at 5:40 to 6:40. All right, which means I need to drink this at 5:20. All right, which means my wheel option is going to be then probably around 5:10. All right, which means I probably need to wake up at probably 5 o'clock, 4:50. We'll say 4:50 to be on the safe side. I don't want to be running late, okay? So I wake up at 4:50 a.m. Make sure a.m. is on there. I mean, obviously I know it's a.m., but you know what I mean. And have that. So I know that then my post-workout is going to end up, by the time that I make it and everything, is going to be probably 6:45 a.m. And my post-workout meal, I know by the time that I run around and get back and everything like that, and I want that to be within 1 to 2 hours of my working out, I'm going to say that my breakfast is going to be at 8 a.m. All right. So That's how I've done the first part. Now, I'm going to look at the rest of my calendar. I'm going to look to see what are the meetings that I have that day. What schools do I need to visit? Where's my driving time going to be? What does the calendar look like? So I've already kind of looked at that. So I know that on this day, I'm going to end up having meal option 2 as my next meal. Okay. So I'm going to copy that, go over here to this, and paste. See how I did that? All right. So I know that this, since at this point in time, I want to eat every 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to say this is going to be at 10:30 a.m. All right. After that, I know that I'm going to end up having a break for lunch. And I know that at some point in time, I want to get this in here. So I'm going to go through pre-workout meal as meal, because remember I did this up here for my workout. So I'm going to come over here, highlight this, copy it, take it over to week 2, and paste it. All right. So this is my pre-workout meal, which is also now going to basically be meal option 1, right? And then if I look at this, the only thing that I have left is meal option 3, right? So I'm going to go over here, copy meal option 3, copy it, come back over here, and paste. Now, I know it was like, okay, thanks for the copy and paste, but I wanted you guys to see how essentially I can go from the template that I've created, instead of me having to go through and color code each individual square, change the font that I'm using or things like that, which I've done before. I thought it would just be a little bit easier and time consuming for me. I would save time if I created just a template that I could, oh, here's this option, copy and paste it. Oh, here's this option, copy and paste it. And you can see this is now essentially how I ended up going through and creating this for week 1. I've now got to start for week 2. And it literally just took a couple of seconds of copy and paste rather than me having to go and color code everything as I went. The next thing I would do is I would just go through and write down, okay, what am I going to eat? Here, 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 here. And then that's done. Okay. Couple things that I want you to think about as you do this. And I have notes that I'm going to read from that I've been doing. So I know right now your mind's like, oh my gosh, that was a lot. Like I've got to figure out all of that and be realistic about what I'm going to do. So here are some hints for you to think of. And this is why we're kind of starting this meal planning process early in the week, so we can think about these things as we go. Because again, I want you to work on this a little bit each day if you possibly can, and not wait to the last minute. So here's what I want you to think of. First off, your pre-workout meal. You know what Autumn does? She literally eats, puts the plate in the sink, and works out. She doesn't have any downtime. You know how it says you need to wait 60 to 90 minutes before you work out? The reason why she says that is because majority, not all, majority of people, if they eat and then work out, they get sick within a certain amount of time frame. She, however, has gone to the point and trained her body where she literally eats and then works out. Me, I can go through and eat. The meal option 1. I can do that in the morning and literally work out 20 minutes later, and I'm okay to go. So you don't necessarily have to wait 60 to 90 minutes. If you are an early morning workout person, you don't have to wait 60 to 90 minutes to eat breakfast before you work out. You can literally eat, put the plate down, and start on your workout if your body is able to handle that. If that's what you can do, great, go for it, all right? You don't need to worry about that time piece. The only thing that you really got to focus on with that timing is if you're doing the Energize, and that has to be 20 to 30 minutes before. But by the time that you wake up and you get yourself geared up and things like that, that 20 to 30 minutes flies by. But if you're not using Energize, you can literally wake up, eat your food, work out, and be good to go. You just don't want to make yourself sick. So kind of play with that a little bit and see what you think. The other thing, we're going to check in on where you are with your meal plan after the first 2 weeks, okay? I want you to stick to the Time Nutrition for a solid 2 weeks. And we're going to kind of regroup and think about, okay, am I still hungry? Am I irritable? And we can adjust the meal plan after those 2 weeks accordingly. And I will, for those of you that need that, I will walk you through that process when we get there. It depends a lot on your metabolism and how, what you're working and how much you're working. That has a lot to do with it, but most of it has to do with your metabolism. So we're going to go through after 2 weeks and we're going to do a check-in. So if you're like doing this, you're like, God, I am still hungry all the dang time. I've got a headache. I'm irritable. We can adjust your meal plan, and she showed us how to do that, and I can do that for you. But kind of keep note as far as how you're doing and how you're feeling about things like that. Also know that as you start this, if you haven't been eating super healthy or clean this entire time up to leaving this, your body's going to go through a detox process where it's going to get rid of the sugars and it's going to get rid of all that stuff in your body that you don't need. It's going to take, just like it takes 3 to 5 days for Shakeology to get into our system and things like that, it's going to take 3 to 5 days for our body to detox those toxins out that we don't need that are currently housed in our body by eating clean. So understand those first few days with working out and eating clean, that some of us are going to feel those effects as well. That's completely normal. If you're thinking like, okay, this is great, Trisha, but I cannot, I don't know how I'm going to remember what I'm supposed to eat, when I'm supposed to eat. I'm not going to take spreadsheets with me everywhere. That's perfectly fine. On your phone, you can set multiple alarms, okay? And on each of your alarms, you can go through and you can put on there what that alarm is, and you can say, this is what this alarm is for. And then you can put little color codes with it. So I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to just create one real quick so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, okay? So I can go through with alarm and I can create add alarm. Okay, so I'm just going to make one up just for 4:29 p.m. All right, on my label, beep, label. Okay, I'm going to go to a label and I'm going to type in what exactly it is. So let's just say I'm going to say meal option 2. Okay. And I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot what meal option 2 is. I don't know what I'm supposed to eat at that for meal option 2. So I can go through and I can use my emojis and I can scroll over to where the little hearts are. And you're going to find under meal option 2, when I do this, if I can get to the hearts, go hearts, go. All right, meal option 2 is a green, it is a red, and it is, oh no, it's not a red. It is a green, it is a purple, and it is a blue. All right, see what I did there? I labeled it. All right, so I go back, I save it, and look what's on my phone now. I know at 4:29, I need to have for meal option 2, and that's what I need to eat as far as my meal plan is concerned. Boom, it's done. Tells me what I need to do. And it has and it sets a timer to buzz and say, oh, it's 4:29, Trisha, it's time for you to eat. This is what you're supposed to be having right now. Here you go. So when you've meal prepped, you know what that is. But if you're out in public, you're out for dinner, and you're like, I know I'm eating dinner out, but I forgot like what I'm supposed to order, what the containers are. That's the colors that you need, okay? So that will hopefully help you as well. If you're looking at that meal list and you're like, I have not done meal planning in a while, I don't remember this is an overwhelming list. Highlight the foods that you like first and start off with that. Start easy the first week. Go through that list and highlight the foods that you like. And then that's what you use for your meal planning, if that's what's going to be easier for you to start. The other thing is, okay, if you have a large gap in time. So let's say, for instance, on here, I go through and I hope that I just did this because I just realized I'm sharing my screen. I hope that you guys saw what I did. I'm going to stop my screen share for a second. So in the event you guys didn't see what I was talking about, which would have been awkward, that's what I was talking about. See how I went through and it's got the time, and then I have a green, a purple, and a blue. That is the alarm. So that will show me what I need to eat at what time when that goes off. And again, that would correspond with what my mealtime plan is. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen so you guys can see that. This part right here is what I was talking about. Okay. Last thing that I want to do before we go any further is what to do if there are large gaps of time in between your meals. So like, let's say, for instance, that you wake up at 6, but you're not working out till 8, and you've done your meal options 1, 2, and 3, and you're done. And it's like, let's say, I don't know, 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, but I'm not working out. That'd be an extreme case. I don't think that would happen. But let's just say you're like, I'm done with my containers and it's 3, and I'm not working out until 8, which means I'm actually not going to be able to eat anything from 3 in the afternoon till 7 o'clock at night. And that's a long time. You need to eat before then. So one thing that Adam talked about is if you have large gaps of time in between your meals, that you can eat a green container of veggies between your meal and your pre-workout. Between meal 3 and your pre-workout, you can have a green container. One green container is not going to throw you off on your stuff. it's just going to be straight nutrients for you. Now, here's the deal. When you do that, do not use oil with that veggie, with that green. Don't saute anything or anything like that. Eat that veggie raw or steamed, and then you can use spices on top of it if you want to give it a little bit of flavor. Don't dip it in anything, but you can have steamed or raw veggies. Again, no oil, but raw or steamed veggies. And if you want to season it, you can put some seasoning on there with some spices. And you can have 1 container of green between those large breaks in between. And Claire, I was really kind of, when I heard that, really thinking of you specifically as far as timing of dance and like, okay, well, this is what time this is, but then this is what time this is. If you could just put in a thing of green veggies in between, I know that would be difficult, but it's an option. So that's a lot of information in a very short amount of time. I know that you guys are going to have questions as we go through this. I want you to post your questions because I can then answer them for you. So read over the guide. And I have read over my guide. I have read it over probably 3 or 4 times. So read over the guide. Don't just skim it, okay? Read all the little fine details. Read the guide. After you read the guide, go through and print off that meal plan list, the container guide, so you know what goes in what containers. And then, like I said, start planning now, because it's going to take you a little while to think about and realize what can go where at what times. And I want you guys to have enough time to really be able to work through this so it works and you're not mass planning at the last minute and then like, oh my gosh, it's not working. I want you to take your time so we do this, we do it together, and we do it right. So whatever questions you have, concerns you have, post them in the comments below. Hopefully I've answered some of the questions you've had with this video, but I guarantee you, I know that you guys have more, just like I had a lot more when I did this originally. So post your questions in the comments below and I will respond as fast as I can. And remember, I guarantee if you're wondering, everybody else is wondering, and that's why we're starting the meal planning process early and reviewing these documents for an entire week. So I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later. All right.